So when you came here in the late 60s, did you ever think 50 years later you'd have your name on trucks all over the country?
Oh, no. My intentions when we started building was to feed my family. It wasn't building a company, or it was just surviving.
They always ask me how it started, and I say, well, Bill grew up in Indiana and somehow found his way to Tennessee. But you certainly had an interest in and a liking in horse racing. And I don't know that everybody fully appreciates or realizes that what we manufacture today wasn't necessarily your first product 50 years ago. How did it come from your background to where it's at today?
My brother moved here from Indiana in October of '67, and I was shoeing horses at the time, and the weather was bad there in Indiana, and things were kind of slow, and I got to coming down here and shoeing for him, and then I just told my wife, let's move to Tennessee. So I'd already gathered up several customers, and we built a trailer to use ourselves out on the farm. A friend of ours from George Langford from Hartsville come by, and he said, if y'all put cattle rights on that trailer, he said, I could sell that to Dr. Bratton. We put cattle rights on it, and he sold it to her. It just seemed like this one customer would come after the other, and about all of our sales early was acquaintances. They knew we didn't have the background, but they knew that we would make it right if it wasn't. I think that's what got us off and running. Just like in the early 70s, it got hard to get steel. And we knew a fella that was good friends with a fella in Inland Steel. He got us 2 semi-loads, 80,000 pounds, $12,000.
You even remember the invoice.
Well, I got a lot of the invoice. I didn't have the money to pay it, and I borrowed it from Dad. I think it was Dad putting determination on me to succeed. He said, now son, don't get in deeper than you can get out. I don't know whether he had doubts that I was going to make it or just trying to put that determination in me.
I think he knew you were going to make it. When you made the comment earlier on in the survival mode, there certainly had to have been a transition at some point that you woke up every morning knowing that you were doing the right thing and building an organization. Hopefully you weren't still in survival mode when I met you 44 years later.
44 years, every time we would get caught up, you'd wonder if you was ever going to be busy again. And it never failed, it never left me. I'd always say, will we ever be busy again?
And there you were 4 decades later. You know, the 44 years that you've put in place and founded the company, it gets me excited to think that I have an opportunity to lead the organization forward, certainly thinking through what do the next 50 years look like for the company. But when I hear Wil-Ro, I don't immediately associate it with commercial trucks. I think it's the people. When I think of what the brand stands for, people get excited about the foundation that you've laid. And you know, the craftsmanship is still talked about to this day. They're associated with the quality. I shared a short story with you, I think it was a couple of months ago when I came back from traveling on the East Coast, and someone who had interacted with you, I think nearly 35 years ago, knew of your name right away and had bought trailers from you and knew exactly the path that he drove to get here and what exit he took on the highway. When you think of what does Wil-Ro mean for me, to me it's those experiences that when somebody associates immediately your company or your organization with feelings, not just a product right away, but that for him dated back 20, 30, 40 years ago. It seemed like he was describing our factory and the roads here before they were even. Wil-Ro, a lot of people immediately associate it with commercial trucks. It's certainly a blessing, it's certainly a gift. It's something I really look forward to, coming every single day and getting excited about it and thinking through, how do I share that gift then with others, whether those others are in an engineering role, whether those others are in a welding role. How can I be a cheerleader for them to see that Wil-Ro can have an impact on lots of other families, lots of other careers, and certainly the community in which we surround ourselves.
I don't know what Kim ever told you or not, but I told him, I said, you know, Josh didn't just take Wil-Ro to the next level, he skipped a level. I admire you for what you have been able to accomplish and move the product forward and go on.
Well, that's humbling. I appreciate you sharing that.
It's something that could go on after I'm gone. My brother and I decided early in our manufacturing, we will not sacrifice quality for quantity. There was times that I think maybe you want to, but you don't. The quality will weigh out.